most people watching this video are going to quit on themselves again. Not because they're weak, not because they don't have dreams, but because pain changes people. Pain makes people doubt themselves. Pain makes people settle. Pain makes people wake up every morning believing they were born for average. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe you smile around people, but deep inside you feel exhausted. Maybe you're tired of starting over, tired of being broke, tired of feeling lost, tired of watching other people win while your life stays the same. You've got goals in your mind, but fear in your heart. You want success, but part of you is scared to even try anymore because life has disappointed you too many times. And the worst feeling isn't failure. The worst feeling is knowing you're capable of more, but watching yourself lie below your potential every single day. That feeling destroys people slowly. Because every night you tell yourself, tomorrow I'll change. Tomorrow I'll change. Tomorrow I'll work harder. Tomorrow I'll be disciplined. Tomorrow I'll stop wasting time. But tomorrow keeps becoming another excuse. Listen to me carefully. Your biggest enemy is not your situation. It's not your haters. It's not your lack of money. It's not your past. Your biggest enemy is the version of you that keeps choosing comfort over growth. That version wants shortcuts. That version wants motivation without discipline. That version wants success without sacrifice. And every single day there's a war happening inside your mind. One side wants to stay comfortable. The other side knows you were created for greatness. One side says quit. The other side says fight. One side says sleep. The other side says grind. One side says maybe later. The other side says right now. And the scary part is this: the life you dream about will never belong to the weak version of you. It only belongs to the person willing to suffer, stay disciplined, and keep going when life gets hard. That's why this video is different. This is not just motivation. This is a wake-up call. Because if you keep wasting your potential, one day you're going to wake up with regret. You're going to look at your life and realize you had talent, dreams, opportunities, and time, but you kept waiting instead of moving. And trust me, regret hurts more than failure ever will. So before this video ends, I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep being controlled by... Are you finally ready to become the person you know you're supposed to be? Because the moment you master your mind, the moment you stop running from pain, the moment you become disciplined when nobody is watching, your entire life changes. And today might be the day everything begins. Discipline over excuses means choosing action instead of comfort. It means doing what needs to be done, even when your emotions are telling you not to do it. Most people think success comes from motivation, talent, or luck, but the truth is that discipline is the real difference between people who dream and people who achieve. Motivation changes every day. Some mornings you wake up excited, energized, and ready to conquer the world. Other mornings you feel tired, frustrated, and mentally exhausted. If your life depends only on motivation, then your progress will stop every time your feelings change. Discipline is different. Discipline says, I will keep going no matter how I feel. That mindset changes everything. Excuses are dangerous because they sound reasonable. They make people feel comfortable staying where they are. People say they are too tired, too broke, too stressed, too busy, too young, too old, or too unlucky. The problem is not that excuses exist. The problem is that people start believing them. Every excuse slowly steals confidence, steals opportunities, and steals potential. One excuse becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a lifestyle. Eventually, people wake up years later wondering why. Nothing changed. The truth is that excuses may protect your comfort today, but they destroy your future tomorrow. Discipline forces you to face reality. It forces you to accept responsibility for your life. That can be painful because responsibility means you can no longer blame other people for where you are. It means you must look in the mirror and ask yourself hard questions. Are you really giving your best effort? Are you using your time wisely? Are you working consistently? Are you staying focused? Many people avoid these questions because the answers make them uncomfortable. But growth only happens when you are honest with yourself. Think about athletes who train every day. They do not wake up every morning feeling excited to push their bodies to the limit. Some days they are sore. Some days they are sore. Some days they are mentally drained. Some days they want to stay in bed like everybody else. But discipline pushes them out of bed anyway. Discipline tells them that champions are built on the day's tea. Hey, do not feel like showing up. Anybody can work hard when they feel inspired. Real strength appears when you keep working even when inspiration disappears. The same thing applies to life. If you want success in school, business, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, discipline matters more than temporary emotion. A student who studies consistently will outperform a talented student who only studies when they feel motivated. A business owner who works daily with focus and patience will eventually beat someone with talent but no consistency. A person who trains at the gym regularly will see better results than someone who waits for the perfect mood to start. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates results. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline is punishment. They think it removes freedom from life. In reality, discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined with money, you gain financial freedom. When you are disciplined with your health, you gain energy and strength. When you are disciplined with your time, you create opportunities. Discipline may feel difficult in a moment, but it produces rewards that last much longer than temporary comfort. Excuses always focus on the present moment. Discipline focuses on the future. Excuses say, skip the workout today. Discipline says, your future health matters. Excuses say, waste time scrolling on your phone. Discipline says, your dreams deserve attention. Excuses only care about what feels easy right now. Discipline cares about the life you are building over the next 5 years, 10 years, and beyond. One of the hardest truths in life is that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody can do the work for you. People may support you, encourage you, or guide you, but at the end of the day, your future depends on your actions. That truth can feel heavy, but it is also powerful because it means your life is still in your control. You may not control every situation, but you control your effort, your mindset, and your response. Discipline gives you power because it reminds you that your actions matter more than your excuses. There will always be obstacles. Life will never become completely easy. There will be stress, setbacks, disappointments, failures, criticism, and moments of doubt. If you wait for perfect conditions before taking action, you will wait forever. Discipline teaches you to move forward despite imperfect circumstances. It teaches you to work through discomfort instead of running away from it. People often admire successful individuals without understanding the sacrifices behind their success. They see the achievement, but not the years of consistency. They see the victory, but not the early mornings, late nights, failures, and lonely moments. Behind every successful person is a long story of discipline. Success is rarely one giant moment. Most of the time, it is the result of small disciplined actions repeated every single day. Waking up here, it's like when you do not feel like it is discipline. Staying focused while others waste time is discipline. Practicing your craft when nobody is watching is discipline. Saving money when you want to spend it is discipline. Keeping promises to yourself is discipline. These small choices may seem insignificant in one single day, but over time, they completely transform a person's life. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you become stronger mentally. Every time you follow through on your goals, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. Confidence is not built by talking. Confidence is built by action. When you repeatedly do difficult things, your mind starts believing, I can handle challenges, I can push through discomfort, I can succeed. That belief becomes powerful. Excuses weaken the mind because they teach you to escape discomfort. Discipline strengthens the mind because it teaches you to face discomfort directly. Life rewards people who can and stay focused under pressure. Anybody can stay positive when things are easy. But when life gets difficult, discipline becomes your foundation. Sometimes discipline means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term success. That sacrifice is not always exciting. It may mean missing parties to work on your goals. It may mean waking up while others are sleeping. It may mean continuing after multiple failures. But sacrifice is temporary. Regret can last forever. Many people suffer because they chose comfort over growth for too long. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it can be developed. Nobody is born perfectly disciplined. It is built through daily practice. You start small. You keep promises to yourself. You stay consistent even when progress feels slow. Over time, discipline becomes part of your identity. You stop depending on motivation because your habits become stronger than your emotions. At the end of the day, the battle between discipline and excuses is really a battle between the life you want and the comfort holding you back. Every day you make a choice. You can choose temporary comfort or you can choose growth. You can choose excuses or you can choose discipline. One path feels easier today but harder tomorrow. The other path feels harder today but leads to strength, confidence, success, and freedom. The people who win in life are not always the smartest, richest, or most talented. Often, they are simply the people who refuse to quit. They kept showing up. They stayed disciplined when others made excuses. And eventually, their consistency separated them from everyone else. Pain builds power because struggle changes people in ways comfort never can. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, but pain is often the very thing that creates strength, wisdom, discipline, and greatness. Every difficult moment in life carries a lesson. Every setback has the potential to build character. The problem is that many people quit in the middle of the struggle, never realizing that the pain they were running from was preparing them for a stronger future. Nobody likes pain when they are experiencing it. Failure hurts. Rejection hurts. Loneliness hurts. Being misunderstood hurts. Watching things fall apart hurts. There are moments in life when everything feels heavy and exhausting, and in those moments people often ask, why is this happening to me? But sometimes the better question is, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because pain is not always there to destroy you. Sometimes it is there to transform you. Think about how muscles grow in the gym. Muscles only become stronger after stress and resistance. Without pressure, growth never happens. The same principle applies to life. Mental strength, emotional maturity, and resilience are not built during easy seasons. They are built during the hardest moments. When life pushes you beyond your comfort zone, it forces you to discover abilities you never knew you had. Many successful people have painful stories behind their success. Before the victories came failure. Before the confidence came insecurity, before the recognition came years of being ignored. Pain shaped them. It taught them patience, discipline, humility, and endurance. The world often celebrates the success while ignoring the struggle that created it. But greatness is almost always born in difficult seasons. Pain changes the way you see life. When everything is easy, people often become comfortable and careless. Comfort can make people lazy. But pain forces reflection. It forces growth. It forces you to think differently. A person who has struggled learns gratitude in a deeper way. A person who has failed learns resilience. A person who has faced rejection learns how to believe in themselves without needing constant approval from others. One of the hardest things to understand is that pain does not automatically make people stronger. Some people allow pain to break them, while others allow low pain to build them. The difference is mindset. If you see every challenge as proof that life is against you, then pain will make you bitter. But if you see challenges as opportunities to grow, then pain becomes fuel for transformation. There are moments when life feels unfair. Moments when you work hard and still fail. Moments when people betray you. Moments when your dreams seem impossible. During those times, it is easy to lose hope. It is easy to believe that your struggle has no meaning. But often the hardest seasons are preparing you for responsibilities and opportunities you could not handle before. Imagine someone trying to lead others without ever experiencing hardship. They would lack empathy, wisdom, and understanding. Struggle creates depth in people. It teaches compassion. It teaches patience. It teaches humility. Pain has a way of removing arrogance because it reminds people how fragile and unpredictable life can be. Pain also reveals character. When everything is going, anybody can smile, stay positive, and act confident. But when pressure comes, true character is exposed. Difficult situations reveal who is willing to fight and who gives up easily. They reveal who stays disciplined and who loses focus. Hard times act like a mirror. showing people who they truly are. Sometimes pain comes from failure. Failure can feel humiliating because people attach their identity to results. But failure is often one of the greatest teachers in life. Failure teaches lessons success never could. When you fail, you are forced to analyze your weaknesses. You learn what does not work. You learn patience. You learn perseverance. Every successful person has failed many times before achieving greatness. The difference is that they did not allow failure to define them permanently. Pain can also come from rejection. Rejection hurts because people naturally want acceptance. Whether it is rejection in relationships, careers, friendships, or opportunities, it can make everyone questions their value. But rejection is not always a sign that you are not good enough. Sometimes rejection is redirection. Sometimes closed doors protect you from the wrong path and push you towards something better. Many people look back later in life and realize that the rejection they once cried about actually led them to greater opportunities. Another truth about pain is that it teaches appreciation. People who have experienced struggle often value success more deeply. A person who has been broke understands the value of money differently. A person who has experienced loneliness values genuine relationships more. A person who has gone through difficult seasons appreciates peace and stability more than someone who has never struggled. Pain builds emotional endurance. Life will always have uncertainty, stress, and unexpected challenges. If every small problem destroys you emotionally, it becomes impossible to grow. Pain trains the mind to become stronger under pressure. It teaches you how to stay calm during storms. It teaches you how to keep moving even when emotions feel overwhelming. There is also power in surviving what you once thought would destroy you. When you go through something difficult and make it out the other side, your confidence changes. You realize that you are stronger than you thought. Challenges that once seemed impossible no longer intimidate you as much because you now have proof that you can survive hard moments. Some people spend their entire lives avoiding discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, risks, challenges, and responsibilities because they fear pain. But avoiding pain often creates a weaker life. Growth requires discomfort. Every meaningful achievement requires sacrifice. Athletes endure physical pain during training. Entrepreneurs endure stress and uncertainty. Students endure long hours of studying. Nothing valuable comes without struggle. Pain also creates mental toughness. Mental toughness is the ability to keep going despite obstacles, fear, or exhaustion. It is the ability to stay focused during difficult times. People who develop mental toughness become harder to break because they understand that pain is temporary. They stop seeing hardship as the end of the story and start seeing it as part of the process. One of the most important lessons pain teaches is patience. Modern society wants instant results, instant success, and instant happiness. But real growth takes time. Pain forces people to slow down and endure the process. It teaches that meaningful change does not happen overnight. Sometimes the strongest people are not the most talented, but the ones who stay patient through years of struggle. Pain can either become a prison or a source of power. Some people stay trapped in their past forever. They replay their failures, heartbreaks, and disappointments until those experiences control their future. Others use pain as motivation. They turn rejection into determination. They took RN failure into lessons. They turn suffering into strength. Those people grow beyond their circumstances. Life will never be completely free from pain. Everyone experiences loss, disappointment, fear, and struggle at some point. The goal is not to become someone who never feels pain. The goal is to become someone who can grow through it instead of being destroyed by it. The strongest people are not people who never suffered. The strongest people are the ones who face pain and refuse to quit. They cried, struggled, doubted themselves, and failed, but they kept moving forward. Over time, the same pain that once felt unbearable became the reason they became wiser, stronger, and more powerful. One day you may look back at your hardest season and realize it changed your life completely. The pain that once made you question everything may become the very thing that built your strength, discipline, resilience, and purpose. And in that moment, you will understand that pain was never your enemy. It was your teacher. Self-belief changes everything because the way you see yourself shapes the way you act. The risks you take, the opportunities you chase, and the life you create. Before success happens in reality, it first happens in the mind. If a person does not believe they are capable of growth, achievement, or greatness, they will never fully commit to their goals. They will hesitate, doubt themselves, quit early, and settle for less than they deserve. But when someone truly believes in themselves, their entire mindset shifts. Their energy changes. Their actions become stronger. Their persistence becomes greater. Self-belief becomes a foundation for transformation. Many people underestimate the power of belief. They think confidence only comes after success, but often success begins after confidence. A person who believes in themselves is more likely to try again after failure. They are more willing to step outside their comfort zone. They do not allow temporary setback, chaos to define their future, because deep inside, they believe they are capable of overcoming challenges. That belief creates resilience. The world constantly tests self-belief. There will always be criticism, rejection, failure, and moments when people underestimate you. There will be times when others laugh at your goals or tell you your dreams are unrealistic. If your confidence depends entirely on other people's approval, your mindset will collapse every time someone doubts you. That is why self-belief is so important. It allows you to continue moving forward, even when nobody else understands your vision. Many talented people fail because they never believed in themselves enough to fully pursue their potential. Talent alone is not enough. Intelligence alone is not enough. Opportunities alone are not enough. Without belief, people often sabotage themselves. They avoid risks because they fear failure. They stop too early because they assume success is impossible. They stay silent because if they think their voice does not matter, lack of self-belief quietly destroys countless dreams. On the other hand, people with strong self-belief often achieve extraordinary things even without perfect circumstances. They may not start with money, connections, or resources, but they have faith in their ability to learn, adapt, and grow. That belief pushes them to keep trying when others quit. Over time, consistency and persistence create results. Self-belief does not mean pretending life is easy. It does not mean believing you will never fail. Real self-belief means trusting yourself even during uncertainty. It means understanding that failure is part of growth, not proof of weakness. A person with self-belief can face rejection without completely losing confidence because they understand that setbacks are temporary. One reason self-belief is powerful is because it changes behavior. People act according to how they see themselves. If someone sees themselves as weak, incapable, or unworthy, their actions will reflect that mindset. They may avoid opportunities, settle for less, or constantly seek validation from others. But when someone sees themselves as capable and valuable, they begin making stronger decisions. They walk differently, speak differently, and approach life differently. Think about someone trying to build a business, improve their fitness, or pursue a dream career. If they constantly tell themselves, I can't do this, their effort becomes weak and inconsistent. They expect failure before they even begin. But if they believe growth is possible, they approach challenges with determination. Even when they struggle, they keep learning and improving instead of immediately giving up. Self-belief also affects discipline. When people believe in their future, they become more willing to sacrifice temporary comfort for long-term goals. They study harder, train harder, and work harder because they believe their effort matters. Without belief, discipline becomes difficult because deep down, they feel their work will not lead anywhere. A major obstacle to self-belief is comparison. Many people constantly compare themselves to others and feel inadequate. Social media has made this even worse because people are constantly exposed to highlights of other people's lives. They see success without seeing the struggle behind it. They compare their beginning to someone else's finished result. Over time, comparison creates insecurity and self-doubt. The truth is that everyone has a different journey. Some people succeed early. Others take longer. Some people start with advantages. Others must fight through obstacles. Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from your own growth. Self-belief grows when you focus on your own progress instead of constantly measuring yourself against other people. Another challenge is past failure. Many people lose belief in themselves because of mistakes they made years ago. They replay old failures in their minds until those experiences define their identity. But failure does not determine your future unless you allow it to. Every successful person has failed repeatedly. What separates winners from quitters is not perfection. It is the willingness to continue despite failure. Self-belief is also connected to the promises you make to yourself. Every time you set a goal and follow through, your confidence grows. Every time you stay disciplined, you prove to yourself that you are capable. But every time you constantly break promises to yourself, your confidence weakens. That is why small daily habits matter so much. Confidence is built through action, not empty words. People often wait for confidence before taking action, but confidence usually comes after action. Nobody starts as an expert. Nobody begins fully prepared. Growth happens by doing difficult things repeatedly. The more challenges you face, the more evidence you give yourself that you can handle adversity. Over time, that experience strengthens self-belief. Self-belief also affects relationships and opportunities. People who value themselves tend to set higher standards. They are less likely to tolerate disrespect or settle for situations that drain them. They pursue opportunities with courage because they believe they deserve growth and success. Confidence attracts opportunities because confident people are more willing to step forward instead of hiding in fear. Fear is one of the biggest enemies of self-belief. Fear tells people they are not ready. Fear tells them they might fail, embarrass themselves, or disappoint others. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite fear. Every time you face fear directly, your confidence grows stronger. Every time you avoid fear, insecurity becomes stronger. Life will test your belief in yourself many times. There will be moments when progress feels slow, moments when people doubt you, moments when nothing seems to work. During those seasons, self-belief becomes critical because external results may not yet exist. You must continue trusting your potential even before the results appear. One of the most powerful things about self-belief is that it influences how others see you. People are naturally drawn to confidence. When you believe in yourself, you communicate differently. You carry yourself differently. You stop asking permission to pursue your goals. That energy inspires trust and respect. However, self-belief must be combined with effort. Believing in yourself without taking action leads nowhere. Real confidence is built through preparation, discipline, learning, and persistence. The strongest belief comes from knowing that you are willing to put in the work required to grow. There will always be people who doubt you. Some will criticize your dreams because they are afraid to chase their own. Some will project their limitations onto you. If you allow other people's opinions to control your life, you will never reach your full potential. At some point, you must decide that your belief in yourself matters more than the doubts around you. The human mind is powerful. The stories you repeat to yourself every day shape your reality. If you constantly say you are weak, unlucky, or incapable, your actions will reflect those beliefs. But if you tell yourself that growth is possible, that you can improve, that you can overcome challenges, your mindset becomes stronger. Self-belief changes everything because it changes the way you respond to life. It changes how you handle pain, failure, fear, and uncertainty. It gives you the courage to continue when others stop. It pushes you to chase opportunities instead of hiding from them. It transforms obstacles into lessons instead of permanent defeat. In the end, many people fail not because they lacked ability, but because they stopped believing in themselves too soon. The people who achieve greatness are often the people who continue believing even when success was invisible. They trusted the process, trusted their growth, and trusted that they were capable of becoming more. That belief gave them the strength to keep moving forward until their reality finally matched the vision they carried inside their minds. Consistency creates champions because success is rarely built in one dramatic moment. Most greatness is the result of small actions repeated day after day, month after month, and year after year. People often look at successful individuals and focus on the final result, but they ignore the countless hours of repetition, discipline, patience, and effort that happen behind the scenes. Championships are not won only on the big stage. They are won in the quiet moments when nobody is watching, when a person chooses to keep going even when progress feels slow. Many people start strong. They feel excited, motivated, and determined in the beginning. They set goals, make plans, and imagine a better future. But after a few days or weeks, as the excitement fades, obstacles appear. Progress becomes slower than expected. Results do not happen immediately. That is where most people quit. They mistake slow progress for failure. They lose patience and stop before their hard work has enough time to produce results. Consistency is what separates people who dream from people who achieve. Talent can give someone an advantage, but without consistency, talent often goes to waste. A person with average talent but strong consistency will usually outperform someone with great talent but poor discipline. This happens because consistent effort compounds over time. Small improvements repeated daily eventually create massive transformation. Think about water slowly shaping stone over many years. One drop of water seems weak and insignificant, but constant pressure over time changes the shape of solid rock. Human growth works the same way. Small actions may not seem powerful in one single day, but when repeated consistently, they complete. Lie transform a person's life. A student who studies 1 hour every day will eventually gain more knowledge than someone who only studies occasionally with intense effort. A person who exercises consistently will achieve better health than someone who trains hard for a few days and then stops. A business owner who works patiently every day will eventually build momentum that others cannot match. Consistency turns ordinary actions into extraordinary results. One reason consistency is difficult is because humans naturally want immediate rewards. People want fast success, fast money, fast recognition, and fast results. Modern society encourages impatience. Social media often makes success look instant, but real growth usually happens slowly. There are long periods when it feels like nothing is changing. During those moments, consistency becomes critical because you must continue working even without visible rewards. The hardest part of consistency is continuing during boring or difficult T-seasons. Motivation feels exciting because it creates emotional energy, but consistency is deeper than emotion. Consistency means showing up regardless of how you feel. It means doing the work when you are tired, distracted, stressed, or discouraged. Champions are not created because they always feel motivated. They are created because they develop habits strong enough to continue through discomfort. Every successful athlete understands this principle. Athletes do not only train on days they feel inspired. They practice repeatedly, even when training becomes exhausting and repetitive. Those repeated actions sharpen their skills and prepare them for competition. When the big moment arrives, their success is not based on luck. It is based on years of consistent preparation. The same idea applies to every area of life. Relationships require consistency. Trust is built through repeated actions over time. Health requires consistency. Knowledge requires consistency. Financial success requires. You requires consistency. Confidence requires consistency. Almost everything valuable in life is built slowly through repeated effort. Consistency also builds mental strength. Every time you keep going despite difficulty, you train your mind to become more disciplined and resilient. You prove to yourself that you can follow through even when emotions change. This creates self-respect and confidence because you begin trusting yourself more deeply. Many people fail because they depend too heavily on feelings. When they feel excited, they work hard. When they feel tired or discouraged, they stop. But emotions are unstable. Some days you will feel powerful. Other days you will feel weak. If your progress depends entirely on emotions, your growth will always be inconsistent. Consistency teaches you to move beyond temporary feelings and focus on long-term goals. Another important truth is that consistency creates momentum. In the beginning, progress often feels slow because habits are still developing. But over time, repeated effort creates rhythm. Actions become easier because they turn into part of your routine. Momentum begins carrying you forward. The more consistent you become, the harder it becomes to stop because discipline starts becoming part of your identity. Consistency is also important because life is unpredictable. There will always be distractions, setbacks, stress, and unexpected problems. People who only rely on bursts of motivation often collapse when challenges appear. But people who develop consistent habits are more stable because their actions are rooted in discipline instead of emotion. One of the biggest misconceptions is that consistency means perfection. In reality, consistency does not mean never making mistakes or never missing a day. It means refusing to quit permanently. Everybody has bad days. Everybody experiences setbacks. What matters is returning to the process instead of giving up entirely. Champions are not perfect people. They are Persian. Stand people, there are moments when consistency feels invisible. You may work hard for months without seeing major results. During those seasons, it is easy to become frustrated and question whether your effort matters. But growth is often happening beneath the surface before visible success appears. Just like a tree grows roots underground before becoming tall above the surface, human progress often develops quietly before others notice it. Patience becomes essential during this process. Consistency and patience work together. Without patience, people abandon the process too early. They expect overnight transformation and become discouraged when reality takes longer. But meaningful growth takes time. Building strength, knowledge, confidence, and success is not a quick process. Consistency also builds credibility. People trust individuals who are reliable and disciplined over time. Whether in careers, friendships, leadership, or business, reliability creates respect. Someone who consistently shows up, works hard, and follows through on commitments becomes dependable. Over time, that reliability opens opportunities and builds influence. There is also something powerful about the identity consistency creates. When you repeatedly take disciplined action, you stop seeing yourself as someone who only talks about goals. You begin seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift changes the way you think and behave. You no longer need constant motivation because discipline becomes part of who you are. Many people underestimate how much small habits shape life. Reading a few pages every day may not seem important, but over years it creates knowledge. Saving small amounts of money consistently creates financial growth. Practicing a skill daily creates mastery. Tiny actions repeated consistently become life-changing over time. Consistency also teaches humility because it forces people to respect the process. There are no shortcuts to true mastery. Success built too quickly without strong habits often collapses just as quickly. But success built through consistent effort tends to last because it is supported by real discipline and experience. Sometimes people compare themselves to others and become discouraged. They see someone ahead of them and feel tempted to quit. But consistency teaches that progress is personal. The goal is not to move at someone else's pace. The goal is to keep improving steadily. Even small progress matters when repeated over time. Champions are created through repetition. Musicians practice repeatedly. Writers write repeatedly. Entrepreneurs work repeatedly. Athletes train repeatedly. Mastery is not achieved through occasional effort. It is achieved through disciplined consistency over long periods of time. One of the most powerful things about consistency is that it creates hope. Even when results are not immediate, consistent action reminds you that you are still moving forward. Every disciplined day comes evidence that change is possible. Over time, those small victories build confidence and momentum. Life rewards people who continue showing up. Not because the process is always exciting, but because persistence eventually creates separation. Most people stop too soon. They quit when progress slows or obstacles appear. But the people who keep going long after others quit often achieve extraordinary results. In the end, champions are not simply born different. They are built differently. They are built through repeated sacrifice, repeated discipline, repeated effort, and repeated persistence. They continue when others become distracted. They stay focused when others lose patience. They trust the process when others give up. Consistency creates champions because greatness is not usually one giant decision. It is thousands of small disciplined decisions repeated over time. Every day you either move closer to your goals or farther away from them. The people who win are often the plea who kept taking small steps forward even when the journey felt long. Over time, those small steps created extraordinary lives. Before you close this video, I need you to understand something. Your life is not over because you failed. Your dream is not dead because things got hard. And you are not weak because you've been struggling. Every successful person you admire had moments where they wanted to quit, moments where they felt exhausted, moments where nothing made sense. But the difference between them and everybody else is simple: they kept going. Right now, there are two versions of you fighting inside your mind. One version wants comfort, excuses, and an easy life. The other version wants greatness, discipline, success, and respect. The version that wins is the version you feed every single day. So the question is not whether life is difficult. We already know life is difficult. The real question is, are you going to rise anyway? Because deep inside, you already know you're weak. Remade for more, you can feel it. That hunger inside you, that frustration inside you, that desire to change your life, it's there for a reason. Average people don't dream about greatness every day. Weak people don't feel this fire burning in their soul. The fact that you're still here watching this means there's something inside you refusing to give up. But listen carefully, nothing changes if you stay the same. You cannot keep making excuses and expect a different future. You cannot keep doubting yourself and expect confidence to magically appear. You cannot keep quitting every time life gets painful and expect to become powerful. Growth demands sacrifice. Success demands discipline. Greatness demands consistency. There will be mornings you feel tired. There will be nights you feel alone. There will be moments where nobody claps for you, nobody supports you, and nobody understands your vision. In those moments, you must become your own motivation. You must remind yourself why you started. You must look in the mirror and say, no matter how hard this gets, I will keep going. 1 year from now, your entire life could be different. Your mindset could be stronger. Your body could be healthier. Your finances could improve. Your confidence could rise. But it all depends on the decisions you make after this video ends. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. This is your sign to stop playing small. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for somebody to save you. The moment you take responsibility for your life is the moment your power returns. And one day, after all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the discipline, and all the sleepless nights, you will look back at this version of yourself and realize something powerful. You didn't lose because life was hard. You won because you refused to quit. Now go out there and prove to yourself who you really are.